Hi, I'm Glenn Rogers, and this is Biblical Perspectives. In this video today, we're going to talk about what I have entitled the video as the most difficult thing. And the idea here is, what is the most difficult thing that you have to deal with? And it might seem like everybody's going to have a different answer. Maybe you've got some financial challenges and you're having to deal with those. Maybe there's an illness in the family and that's a problem and you're having to deal with that. Maybe there's a relationship issue or problem somewhere that you're having to deal with it. Maybe things on the job aren't going well. Maybe things at school aren't going well. And so there's something out there that you're having to deal with, and you're thinking, well, this is the most difficult thing I have to deal with right now. Well, let me suggest to you that that's not the way you should think about it. Because for every person, for you, for me, for everybody, the most difficult thing that you have to deal with is you. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. But before we get too deep into that, let me ask you to help us out by subscribing to our channel. There's a little button down below. You can click that, and it really would help us out if you would do that. Doesn't cost you anything. Nobody will bother you or whatever. And there's a like button down there. If you like the content of the video, hit the like button. It'll make this video available to more people on YouTube so that more people can see it. So that'll be helpful to us if you would do that. Okay, so this idea about the most difficult thing. Why would I say that you are the most difficult thing that you have to deal with? Well, because there's more to life than just the individual specific things that come along at different times that you have to deal with. And there'll always be those sorts of things. But throughout your entire life, from the time you're a young child until the time you die, the most challenging thing you will have to deal with, that you will have to try to control, is you. It's you, okay? As a being that is dualistic in nature, you have two sides. There's the physical side of you, and there's the mental or thinking side of you, the spiritual side of you, okay? There's this inner conflict that's going on. Paul talked about this. We did this in a video a few days ago about Romans 7, what he said in Romans chapter 7, and his own struggles with sin. He said there's the physical side of me, and then there's the spiritual side of me, and in my mind and heart, I want to do what's right and good. I want to obey God, but my body is, and I end up doing things that I don't want to do, okay? So we talked about that, and that's a fact for all of us. It's part of our reality. We're dualistic beings, and there's an internal conflict, a struggle, always going on. And it doesn't matter how old you get; it's still there. Some of the specific things you're torn over or that create conflict may change from the time you're 17 to the time you're, say, 77. The things that are bothering you will change. But they're still in there. There's stuff in there, and you have this conflict going on all the time. And Jesus understood this. This is one of the things that was a reality for him when God became a human in the person of Jesus. And we talked about this. John chapter 1, is Jesus God? Yes, he is. He's God living in the flesh. And he had these same struggles. He had this same internal conflict. Right? He wasn't immune to any of that. He knows what it's like to be a human being and have all these challenges and everything. So during his ministry, when he was doing what he did, right, he had lots of followers, and many of them were thinking about becoming his followers full time and being one of his disciples. And he wanted them to know what was really involved, right? And so in Matthew chapter 16, and then this time I'm reading from the New International Version. That's what we're going to start with. It says, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'If anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me will find it.'" Well, what does that mean? Well, almost every person, when they hear that, almost every person, and I know I've been doing this for a long time. I've been teaching and preaching the Bible for over 50 years, okay? And I've been over this text a lot of times with it, with people. And almost every time they insert the word things in there, or the idea of things. Whoever would be my disciple must deny himself things, right? And take up his cross. But see, that's not what Jesus said. People automatically, though, think about things because their idea of Christianity is God wants me to give up stuff. He wants me to give up stuff. And so if I'm going to be a follower of Jesus, then, I have to stop doing this and stop doing that. And I can't enjoy this and I can't enjoy that. And I got to give up this over here and that over there. And they think in terms of things, right? And that's not what Jesus said. He didn't say you have to give up things. He didn't say deny yourself things. He said deny yourself. You see, your own will and desires are the hardest things for you to deal with. They are what gives you the most difficulty in life. That's why I titled this The Most Difficult Things, because the most difficult thing that you have to deal with is you. Now, I want to read this same text from another translation, from my own translation, the Simplified New Testament, and kind of illustrate how a different translation can make the same verse maybe a little easier to understand. Then to all his followers, Jesus said, "The person who wants to follow me must give up his own will and turn his life over to me. He must be willing to die to his own desires, just as one dies on the cross. The person who needs to keep on controlling his own life is the one who will finally lose control of everything. But the person who is willing to turn control of his life over to me is the person who will know what it means to have and enjoy life." So what is Jesus saying there? He's saying, if you want to be my follower, if you want to be my disciple, you're going to have to deny yourself. Now, why am I suggesting that that's the most difficult thing? And I really believe it is more difficult than anything else God asks us to do. The reason is because it sets up a conflict that is one of the most basic conflicts that a human being can experience because of our nature, because of the way we are. So what is it about us as a human being that makes this very difficult to do, to deny yourself? Well, we, as we've said before, we're dualistic beings. There's the physical part, and then there's the mental or the spiritual part, and we get that, and there's the conflict and the drama and all that stuff. But even more basic than that is the kind of being we are. We're created in the image of God, which includes the fact that we are rational beings. We are thinking beings. One of the things that the philosopher Aristotle said was that man, meaning mankind, human beings are the rational animals. What did he mean by that? Well, he meant the thing that makes us different from dogs and cats and horses and cows and goats and whatnot is that we're rational. We have the ability to think in ways that animals can't, right? We have the ability to think in the abstract, to think about abstract concepts like morality and rights and freedom and justice and equality and stuff like that. Animals can't think of those things, but we can, okay? And because we have the ability to think like that, we are very much aware. We're very self-aware. Now, some animals are self-aware. They know that this is their territory, and therefore other animals should stay out of their territory. They're aware at that level. But we're not only aware, we are aware that we are aware. Now, that's not philosophical double talk. That's really an important concept. That's really true, okay? We are so much aware of ourselves that we can play with what we call what-if scenarios. What if back in the 1870s or 1880s, I lived in Tombstone, Arizona, when the Earps and the Clantons were there, and I happened to be in town the day of the gunfight at OK Corral. What would I have done? well, I'd have probably tried to stay out of the line of fire. Right? Is what I probably would have done. Okay, we can run those kinds of what if scenarios. Now, what if it's 300 years in the future and I'm a miner and I live on and work on an asteroid in outer space, mining chemicals of some sort to get shipped back to Earth. And what if there's a bigger asteroid going, come to hit the one I'm on? How am I going to react to that? Okay, we can run what if scenarios because we know us and we're aware of ourselves, and we think, okay, in that situation I would do this, in this other situation I would do this. Okay, we're very much aware, and because we're aware, we are aware that we have choices, and we make choices. We make decisions. We are self-determined people. This morning I determined to put on this shirt. It's kind of a tan color, right? I could have put on a blue one. I could have put on a green one, but I put on this one. Now, that's not a big decision. It's just one that I made. It's a simple, small decision, but I made it. Some of the decisions we make, though, are very important decisions. They're moral decisions. How am I going to deal with this person? Am I going to lie to this person? Am I going to cheat? Am I going to be ugly? Am I going to be hurtful? You see, these are choices that we make about how we're going to live. Now, this comes into play with what Jesus said because we are self-determined people and we like to determine what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And you see this even in children early on. You see the little child that mama's or daddy's got hold of their hand and they want their hand that way and so that they can run off and do whatever. Why? Well, because instinctively built into us, even before we're old enough to know what it is, we want to be able to go do what we want to do. We don't like restrictions, and we don't like people telling us no, and we don't like rules that get in the way of us indulging ourselves and doing what we want to do, right? Children are like that. And part of our job as parents is to teach them, well, sometimes you don't get to do what you want to do. There are rules, that behavior is unacceptable, and so forth. You know what we're talking about. Okay. But as you get older, all right, one of the challenges that you face is how important is what you want to you in relationship, say, to what somebody else needs from you. Sometimes we get a little bit out of balance. And I mentioned this in another video. Self-interest is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with loving yourself, so that when you're hungry, you eat. When you're tired, you rest. When you're thirsty, you drink. You seek out friends to be with because you don't want to be lonely. You do the things that you enjoy because it makes you happy, makes you feel good. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with any of that. But if you're not careful, if you don't monitor that, if you don't balance that, you can get tilted out of balance, right? You can become self-absorbed and narcissistic so that everything is about you. And the most important thing is what you want and what you think and what you decide you're going to do. You see, and that's easy. Human beings have a real difficult time with that. That's part of what I'm talking about. The most difficult thing. See, the most difficult thing you have to deal with is you. Well, Jesus understood that. And so he's saying, if you want to be my disciple, you're going to have to give up you. You're going to have to stop trying to control your life and be in charge and let me tell you how to live. Now, somebody says, okay, wait a second here. Now, let me see if I understand this. God created me in his image, and I'm, part of that is I'm a self-determined person. I make my choices. I go my own way. Well, yeah, that's right. And then Jesus comes along and says, yeah, but I want you to let go of that and let me tell you how to live. Yep, that's what Jesus said. So God made me one way, but he wants me to act a different way. Well, that's one way of looking at it, yeah. Jesus said you need to deny yourself. What he was saying is stop putting yourself first. Stop doing everything that you want to do. And think about how I am showing you and how I'm asking you to live. When somebody says something ugly to you or about you, your inclination is to get even with them and say something ugly back, or get even with them and say something, that's not the right way to behave. That's not the right way to behave. Jesus says, so deny yourself that inclination and follow me instead. Deal with life the way I'm trying to help you deal with life. Well, what is that? Well, it's all kinds of different things. Jesus very specifically said there's some things you should do, some things you shouldn't do, and he gave a lot of principles. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. That's called the golden rule. Okay? So, denying yourself involves relinquishing some of your control, or relinquishing some of the control of your life, so that you can let Jesus say, okay, in this kind of situation, here's what you should do. Don't do just, what you feel like you need to do to get even, or to indulge yourself, or don't do that. Relinquish control, relinquish those kinds of desires and those sorts of things, and listen to me. I'm going to show you a better way to live, a better way to respond, a better way to interact with people, a better way to deal with the challenges of life. And Jesus can show us those sorts of things. One of the best things you can do to improve the kind of person you are is read the Gospels, read about the life of Jesus, and see how Jesus responded to people, the kinds of things that were important to him, how he helped other people, even when he was tired, even when he was hungry, even when he needed to rest and other things. People would say, hey, Jesus, can you help me out with this? And he'd say, what do you need? I'll help you with that. You see, he came to show us how to live. And he's showing us, and he wants us to follow him. We need to deny ourselves. Now, everything, absolutely everything? No. When you go out to eat, you order a salad instead of a hamburger because, that's better for you. That's a decision you get to make. Jesus doesn't care if you eat a hamburger or a salad. When they say what kind of dressing you want, Jesus doesn't care. You can have blue cheese, you can have ranch, you can have whatever you want. You're still a self-determined person. You're still, making choices. But in some cases, you're saying, okay, wait, my inclination says to do this, but maybe that's not the right thing to do. What would Jesus want me to do? Now, a lot of people make fun of that and laugh at that. And that's kind of a silly way to live, they think. But Jesus didn't think so. I don't think so. Most mature Christians don't think so, because they understand, they've had enough experience to understand that I need Jesus to help me make good decisions. If it's left up to me, I keep making bad decisions. I keep making bad choices. I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing, and it turns out not to be a very good thing. This was a mistake. That was a mistake. This was a mistake. That didn't turn out too well. And Jesus says, oh, I get it. I understand. Let me help you. Let me help you. And that's part of what he's there for. He wants to help you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video today. I hope it gave you something to think about. We want to provide good, helpful things in these videos, and that's what our goal is. Maybe you could leave a comment and let us know. That would be helpful to us. Hope you'll tune in to more of our videos in the future. Hope you have a good day. God bless.